Don't. Why do we have to have some stupid drunk junkie with us on this? I didn't ask to work with him. In fact, I'm not going to work with him. Get out of here. Get out of here. I only work with giant robots. Hello everybody, Sparkster1701 here, and we're continuing our look at Studio Month with a rather odd entry in the line. This is the N.E.S.T version of Bumblebee. Now many of you are probably going, well, where did this one turn up at? Well, as it turns out, he did not appear in any of the films. The N.E.S.T version of Bumblebee was done up to be another promotional figure, so that Universal Studios would have another figure that they could exclusively sell in their parks. The problem with this idea, besides the obvious, is the fact that this figure was done in 2019, the year the pandemic started. So this figure really didn't get to be an exclusive at the parks because the parks were closed for most of that year. So for Hasbro to recoup some of their money on this, they ended up releasing the toy through various retail outlets. Mostly online stores, but a few weeks back I bought this guy at a GameStop. So, you never know where he's going to turn up at. Then again, I did buy the Megatron from Universal Studios at GameStop as well. Not the same GameStop, mind you. But at any rate, this is a different version of Bumblebee. For some reason, the stand and the box art state that he was featured in Bumblebee, but that's not correct. The design and the mold of it is taken off of the off-road Bumblebee, which was featured in the Bumblebee movie. But for some reason they felt that we needed to have Sam included as well. So it's kind of, Hasbro, get your story straight with your figures if you're going to mark them as something. Get your story straight, or don't release them if you're going to be so conflicting. Because it kind of shows more that you don't know what you're doing. At any rate, let's first take a look here at his backdrop. And the backdrop pretty much displays a military background. Since we got a couple of Hummers, there's some sort of airplane up here in the corner, and about 4 soldiers. If these guys are hoping to take on a Transformer, I hope their life insurance is paid up. Alright, at any rate, get that out of the way here and bring back the star of our show. We'll start looking at the accessories. We'll start by looking at Sam, who's just a plastic figure put in a running pose. And I think the proper way to display Sam is to either have him running away in the opposite direction, or more appropriately, being stepped on by a Transformer. But that's just my opinion. Let's get him out of the way. Alright, next up for accessories is Bumblebee's gun. Which, of course, is an alien stylized weapon. And this looks like a lot of them that many of the Bumblebee toys have come with. But it's all done up in solid black plastic, so there's no paint details on this figure whatsoever. So it's unfortunately kind of plain. Now we'll take a look here at Bumblebee's articulation. And as he's a studio figure, he should have some good articulation on him. We can turn his head from left to right relatively easily. And while his head is not on a ball joint per se, like a normal one, due to the way it transforms, he can look up. You just can't really look down much. You can raise his arms up about so far. And his arms do rotate at the shoulder all the way around, but the wheel on his shoulder does tend to get in the way a bit. You can bend his arm at the elbow 90 degrees. And he does have a swivel at the bicep, so he does carry over some G.I. Joe style battle grip. Bumblebee can be twisted slightly at his hips. Unfortunately, a lot of the kibble on his back kind of gets in the way of that. You can spread his legs apart about so far. You can raise his leg up at the hip greater than 90 degrees. You can also bend it at the knee 90 degrees. And unfortunately, he really doesn't have very much of a thigh cut either, due to the way his legs are designed. So, he's got some articulation, but it's a bit limited in some places. Bit of a shame, really. Okay, let's go ahead and transform Bumblebee here into his alternate mode. And this is going to be one of the few times that Bumblebee does not become a Camaro. We start by folding down his chest so that we can then reach in here and we're going to fold out the front grille to his Jeep mode. Then we're going to take these side pieces from his robot chest and you're going to fold them inwards together like so. So that it kind of looks like that. And kind of adjust the grill so it lines up on it. And we come back here to his back. And apparently this should have been up further on his back. So we wiggle it so it's down. I have to remember that when I put him back in storage. Then we turn him around to the front because we're going to fold the arms inward at the shoulders a bit. That kind of gets him freed up. Then next we're going to come here to his head. Position the head so the head raises up like that. But then it should fold on its own from this hinge here at the base. Should allow it to fold inward. Try to be gentle with it because it will break. It is rather thin plastic. Fold it down so it kind of looks like he's looking inside himself. Like that. And then next you're going to bring the arms in fully, like so, so that we got the wheels right next to him, like that. Now, once we've done that, we'll come here for the front bumper, and it's going to get folded outward and upwards to cover his head up. Excuse me, it's stuck. Okay, I was wrong. It's It's not stuck, it was jammed because the head was folded inward. The head's supposed to go in towards the back. Then the front grille will fold up into its proper place. Make sure you get it lined up there good. Then we'll come back here to his back and get this piece folded up to help complete the look of the front of the Jeep. There we go. Starting to look solid now. Now we're going to come down here to his feet. His feet need to be rotated on the ankle joint so that they rotate and point upwards. Like that. Then you'll come here onto his legs. There's some panels here right next to the wheels. You're going to fold those outward. Then you're going to take each individual wheel. It gets folded up once to go into the respective fender on the opposite side. And then you will fold the fender and the wheel over to the other side of the leg. Make sure you raise it up a bit as well so it will go over and clear. Then next you're going to raise up the feet. The feet along the sides here have a couple of posts, as you can see. And those should line up with a couple of holes alongside the fender. So be prepared to do a little bit of wiggling and finagling till you get them locked into place. Don't go in very far, so don't feel you gotta force it. It's just enough to reach the edges. There we go. Got those in. Now you'll come back here to the back of the vehicle. You're going to raise these pieces upwards to help form things on the back of the Jeep. Then of course we come in here. We're going to extend this piece outward. Excuse me. Always good to keep a drink around here. Well, once we've got that slid out, then you take your two halves for the back of the Jeep and bring them together. This piece should actually be a little inside the legs. Pardon me. There we go. Got it connected. Of course, once that's connected, we'll reach inside here. And you can fold up the seats. Fold the steering wheel down. And then we can bring these pieces over along the sides. Then next, to kind of finish him up, raise out Bumblebee's arms. Turn them to the side. And then you will bring them down. Because they've got a little notch right in here on the arms, and they will connect to this spot here on the chest. Pardon me a second, we got a low battery. Okay, one other thing I should mention was that these side panels here on the side, they have a little post, and it should line up with Bumblebee's thighs. And then we just line up the arms to connect to a spot in here on what would have been his waist piece. Then we just turn him around and fold up the windscreen. And Bumblebee becomes a Jeep. And he is an actual Jeep, because as we can see here on the box, he's even a licensed product for Jeep. So that's a nice little bonus feature. Unfortunately, he doesn't roll all that great due to the way the thing's set up, but as he is a studio figure, he's not really meant to be played with. He's more meant to be a display piece. The only downside is that he also doesn't have a storage area for the gun when he's in this mode, so the gun kind of gets stored elsewhere. Also doesn't help the steering wheel doesn't want to stay up. There we go, now we got the wheel up. That looks better. But like we said, no room for the gun. No room for Sam either, but who cares about Sam? At any rate, we get down to my thoughts. What do I think of this figure? Well, it is a nice figure. It does transform pretty smoothly, if you do it right. There was my fault on that. I did it wrong. But if you do it right, it is a pretty smooth transformation. It is nice to see a relatively different vehicle for Bumblebee, because his Jeep mode is pretty good. We can get a new symbol for N.E.S.T right there on the hood of the Jeep. Of course, the iconic Jeep front grille. So all in all, this one did turn out pretty good. If there's really any gripe about it, it's just the fact that it didn't appear in any movies. So, Hasbro, if you got an opportunity, put this one in a movie. Be nice to actually have seen Bumblebee as a Jeep in action. At any rate, that's my review of the N.E.S.T version of Bumblebee for the Studio Series. I hope you all enjoyed it. And please do remember that if you like the content that we post here on this channel, please do remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. This is Sparkster1701 saying I will catch you all later.